One of them stopped me and said, how much does it cost to start up a lawn care business? And I said, what's going on, guys? Caleb here, Caleb's Property Maintenance. Thank you as always for coming back for yet another video. Alright guys, so as you can see here behind me, I am not home in Pennsylvania. We do not have big lakes like this, as you'll see here in a minute. So we just have, I guess you call them small ponds, but anyway, at least near Philadelphia, there's not this kind of stuff. I am here in the great state of Minnesota. A shout out, of course, to all the other lawn care landscaper YouTubers here in Minnesota. Unfortunately, they're not anywhere close to me. Most of them are in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and then south. So, and I'm in the way north. I'm about 100 miles, or not even 100 miles, like 60 miles from Canada. So I am almost to Canada. So anyway, guys, the point of this video, I wanted to talk to you today about a really actually interesting question. Before I left for vacation here in Minnesota, a couple days before I left, I was mowing a customer's lawn. My dad and sister helped me out so I could get done, so I could get on vacation. And one of the lawns where I was mowing, the customer was having their groceries delivered from ShopRite, for those of you guys that know that supermarket. And we were blowing off, and one of the guys stopped me. There were two guys, and one of them stopped me and said, how much does it cost to start up a lawn care business? And I said, you know what, that's a really good question. I've never gotten that question just out of the blue like that, but it's one that I can certainly answer. And I asked him, you know, where location wise he is, and because if you're, you know, in the city of Philadelphia, the lawns are really small and you don't need anything but, you know, a push mower, and even if you have a curved shaft weed eater, you can get started, and then just like a handheld blower. So that would obviously be much cheaper than if you were sort of out a little ways from the city and you had some of the bigger ones like I do. I mean, and they're not acre properties or anything, but they're definitely bigger than the ones you'd have in the city. Or you kind of get near the city and you kind of get like those medium size, you know, 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, something like that. So I asked him where he said he was, and he actually said he was in Glenside, and that's kind of funny because one of my subscribers here, he's out of Glenside, Jim B. And shout out to him. Also a good garden center, Primex Garden Center, where I go in Glenside for any plants that I may need. A great place, shout out to them. They're not huge lawns, but they're not postage stamp either. So I said, okay, you're probably gonna be wanting to look at like a walk behind mower and probably at least a medium-sized backpack blower, and a good trimmer would be really helpful. But so I want to answer this question not how I answered him, but I just want to kind of throw some numbers out there. As you guys know, I do run steel handheld equipment, so for the most part I do have Echo. But so I would say if you're starting out, the very first thing I would recommend you do is, if you have never ever mowed a lawn before, you're gonna want to either, if you don't have a lawn to mow, you live in an apartment, let's say, you're gonna want to hook up with a friend or someone that does have a lawn, because you may find out, I really hate this mowing thing. This mowing thing is no fun. And well, then you didn't invest all that money in the first place, and then you find out you hate it. So first step would be is to mow a lawn if you never have before, and try to find someone that's more on the particular side. That way you can get the experience as far as trimming everything out and blowing off real nice. That way you really see how the job should be done and how the customer is expecting it to be done. So that's my first tip, is if you never have mowed a lawn, get out there and mow one to see if you really like it. I've been mowing since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I was on the taller side, so my parents started me out young, and it was one thing I always loved to watch, the neighborhood landscapers, and I couldn't wait till I was old enough so I could get out there and mow. So I knew I would love it from the very beginning, and they told me, well, you got to practice vacuuming before you mow, because you got to hit all the spots just the same as mowing. So I just loved it from day one. So that's me personally, but maybe for you, you might be someone a little bit older and not have much experience. So make sure you guys get some experience to see if that's really something that you want to get into before you actually start dropping cash and got some skin in the game. So I'm gonna give first example. So if you are in a sort of medium size, 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, some setup that you can run. I mean, you can obviously run a 21-inch mower, and you would do okay to get your feet wet. But if you want to have something that's a little bit bigger, and I know in Glenside, for those of you guys that don't know the area, a lot of the lawns are on a slope. I mean, you can find some that are flat, but for the majority they are on a little bit of a slope. So it is going to be kind of tough if you get like a rider of, let's say, like a 48-inch cut rider, because you could definitely do that. It is going to be kind of tough to mow those properties with a hill. So I told the guy, I said, you probably want to look at something. If you don't have really a lot of money, you want to look at something like, sorry guys, I'm familiar with Exmark, but you want to look at something like the Exmark Metro or the Viking if you want a hydro walk behind, or even the Turf Tracer if you have a little bit more money. So those are the three that I mean, if you really have no money, go for the Metro. I think it's like $3,200 for a 48, something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me on the price. I'm just guessing. So anyway, something like that. And then as far as like a trimmer and blower, if you want to get like the Steel BR 500 maybe, it'll probably run you like $400. And then you just kind of work your way up in 50s for the 500, or sorry, the 600, 700, 800. So of course, the more amount of money you have, the better off you'll be, because I would rather have you buy the 800 if I could get you to buy a blower, because I think that's gonna run you about like $549 to $600, somewhere right in there. But especially if you get the side pull start, which I think is a huge deal, that'll really help you save some time. But if you can just do that, you'll have that one blower, and then you won't say, oh, I have the 400 and I want to upgrade to the 600. Now you just had to buy two pieces when you could have just bought one. So it's nice if you have a little bit of money. That way you can. So let's see, so let's say we got the Exmark Metro 3200, we got for the sake of the example, we got the Steel BR 800, we'll just say 600. So now we got $3,800 into it so far, and then we got to get a trimmer. Let's say you get the FS94, I think that's like $325. So you're talking a little over $4,000, just barely over $4,000. Get out of here, bug. A little over $4,000 and you're off and mowing just like that, guys. So obviously, like I said, if you are in an area like the city proper, where the lawns are really small, you can just do a push mower. And if this is really what you want to do, then I would get like either the Exmark Commercial 21, or I'd look at the like Lawn Care Business Success has been using up until this year, like the Honda HRC 216s. Those Honda mowers are good as well, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of mulching, because with the dual blade system on the 21-inch, it's got to grind the clippings up pretty nice. So that's what I would recommend. And then I would still recommend, even if you are in the city, that you get those bigger blowers, just so you can easily, like, if the customer has a lot of flower beds with a lot packed in, you can easily blow those out in the fall when you're doing the leaves. stuff like that. So, and if you are on like a little bit of a larger scale like I am, as far as the lawn sizes go, I started out with the Exmark Turf Tracer S-Series 48-inch mower, and it'll get you through those properties for sure, no doubt. But if you want to start to cut your time down, obviously you're gonna have to jump up to either the 52 or the 60-inch, which, as you guys know, I did. So, interesting question, guys. I thought I'd just weigh in on it. I had never done a video on how much it actually costs to start a lawn care business. Of course, you have to also, I'm not going to quote you guys prices, but you also have to look into some, at least when you're starting out, some form of light insurance. That way, if you do break a window or something and you don't have much cash sitting around, you won't be out of business. So. And then, of course, you do have to have a vehicle, especially if you do get a walk behind. You're gonna have to get like a small 5x8 trailer or something like that. That way, and I'm not sure, probably like $1,000 for that. So, for five grand, a little over 5,000, you can be running. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. And always remember to keep your green foot forward. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. It's Caribou Lake, in case you want to look it up. It's in Lutsen, Minnesota. So you can check it out on the map, see how far away Canada, how far away I am from Canada, and how far up. I'm up on the point of Minnesota on the upper eastern side. So.